Welcome to Ask the Tech Coach, brought to you by the TeacherCast Educational Network. If you are in charge of professional development and looking to build an innovative digital learning experience, this is the podcast for you. Join us each week as we uncover strategies that tech coaches are using to drive their digital transformations one classroom at a time. And now for your host, with over 2 decades of experience working with tech coaches and ed tech companies from all around the world, Jeff Bradbury.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TeacherCast Educational Network. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much for joining us today and making TeacherCast your home for professional development. This is Ask the Tech Coach podcast, episode number 81. It is February the 10th. Welcome to our show. Today, we're going to be talking all about the power of live streaming and using interactive videos as a tech coach. We've got 2 great co-hosts on today. I want to bring on our returning champion, Miss Susan Vincent. How are you, Susan? How are you today?
Great to be back again.
It is great to see you. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am Susan Vincent, and it's been my pleasure to be the co-host here on Ask the Tech Coach for the last several weeks. It has been an awesome experience, and I look forward to more to come. I am a kindergarten through 12th grade technology integration specialist here in the Louisville area in Kentucky.
It's so nice to have you again. Welcome back. I also want to bring on a returning educator onto the show, Mr. Matt Friedman. Matt, how are you today? Welcome to the show.
Jeff, great to be back. It's been a few weeks, but I am back on board and looking forward to this evening.
Looking forward to having you here on the program. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, like I said, my name is Matt Friedman. I'm a longtime educator in the state of Pennsylvania and been working in the K-12 space now for 20 plus years and really have a passion for overseeing educational technology. And so I'm excited to talk about our topic this evening.
I am so happy that you guys are listening to the show, and I'm so happy to have Matt and Susan on. We are trying to form a nice little tech coach team. We have some tech coaches, we have some administrators on, talking all about this whole coaching leadership thing that we are into. If you guys out there would like to be a part of the show, please reach out to us on Twitter at AskTheTechCoach, or of course you can head on over to teachercast.net/contact. Fill out our form. We would love to have you guys as a part of our TeacherCast Educational Network. Want to remind you guys that we have our February Mastermind meeting coming up. If you are looking for some great professional development, you can head on over to teachercast.net/mastermind. We offer meetings every single month, including free lesson plans, free templates, and so much more. We're also in the middle of revamping it for 2020 and beyond. Check it out over at teachercast.net/mastermind today. And guys, let's talk about really an important subject here, right? Using video in the classroom, using interactive video in the classroom. It's one of those things that I hear a lot about, but I want to talk to you guys today about it from a coaching point of view. I'm going to open it up with just a simple question here. Susan, should video be used as a tech coach?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a saving grace for me.
How?
Time saver. I mean, I have 4 campuses that I take care of. So, we talked a little bit about this in a previous episode recently. It has saved my life so many times in not being able to get, to every campus every day. So to make a quick video tutorial for a teacher and make it personalized to them is huge.
Now, you have how many campuses again?
I have 4.
And how often do you find yourself each week, let's say, turning to making I'll start with saying a personalized video to one or maybe a few small teachers?
At least once a week for the most part, but a lot of times more than that, maybe up to 5 times a week. If it's a quick question that I can answer over video and not type it out over email, and they still get my personalized voice to them, that's wonderful for them, and I've gotten great feedback.
And what do you find those videos are? Are they how to do something, or are they just you're using your voice and your face to answer a question? Maybe not necessarily a tutorial, but you're performing a service using video.
For me, it's a how-to, and if it's more of I want to plan and I want to collaborate on this topic and I want to know more about it, then it's more of a face-to-face intentional meeting.
Now,
but just tell them how to insert an image into their Google slide or audio into their Google slide, it's going to be a quick video tutorial.
Now, do you find that you're using video to answer the question, or how are you using video to initiate a conversation? I mean, have you ever just opened up your email and made a video to say, hey, Matt, how you doing? Or are the videos mostly reactionary?
Mostly reactionary, but that is a great idea. I would love to be more intentional about the proactivity.
Well, let's talk about that from the other side of the desk. Matt, what's your thoughts on video from the tech coaching point of view?
Well, I think it can be a powerful tool, especially whether you're in a small district, big district. I don't think it matters. I'll talk about from the live streaming perspective, the one-to-many perspective. When there's one tech coach and many teachers, you can't be in 20 places at one time. So to have the live interactivity at a certain time, a tech coach can really cater to a lot more teachers and a lot more professionals in a district than just trying to get into each individual classroom. So I agree with Susan that I think the interactive aspect is great. The how-to videos are wonderful. The live streaming aspect, I think, takes it to another level, but a combination of both can be very powerful for a tech coach.
Now, I got to ask you the same question here. Are you, or have you, used video to interact with other staff members, and are they proactive, or are they usually reactionary to certain events?
Both. But I can tell you from a proactive standpoint, beyond tech coaches have taught department chair people how to use interactive video, and different administrative people within the districts that I've worked in. And the interactive video has been proactive, where they've held meetings or different professional development sessions. There's also been reactive videos where if a huge initiative is rolled out, for example, maybe with like a learning management system, and a group of teachers don't understand how to use several of the tools within the system, you can send quick 1 to 2 minute how-to videos that kind of meet everyone's needs. So I think you need to balance it, but I think both definitely have a lot of positives.
I think as a tech coach, there is a value to having video. We talk a lot here on this show about having a website full of resources, tutorials that, in case I have a problem, we can just send out these quick, go to this blog post, go to a YouTube video, whether that be ours or not. I still think that there is people are intimidated by video, right? And if you send a video saying, hey, it's Susan and I'm here to help you out, or hey, do you need anything? People aren't necessarily interested in giving you a video back. What are you guys expecting when you create a video? Are you expecting them to create a video back? Are you expecting text? Or are you just expecting that people might ignore it because it's a video and maybe they don't want to watch the first 5 minutes of something?
I think video has become a lot more prevalent these days because people are going to YouTube all the time to find out how to do whatever they need to do, whether it be repair their car or do something around the house. So I think teachers are depending a lot more on video for training. Now, to expect them to get me a video back, I haven't as much. Again, that's a great idea, but we have to think of that in terms of also our students. You know how nervous our students can be when we ask them to do a Flipgrid video, and then they look at us like, do I have to put my face on there? Can I cover up my camera?
Yeah. I get that in broadcasting class.
Oh, yes, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you're dealing with that age group right now. So, yeah, I think a lot of the teachers are that way, especially more so maybe the veteran teachers who, again, using the word intimidated.
I always try to put myself in my users' seats. If I was a teacher and I got an email from my principal, my superintendent, and there was a personalized video to me, whether it be good, bad, or indifference, that is intimidating, right, Matt?
Possibly. I mean, it depends. Like Susan said, we're living in a Netflix and YouTube society. And so teachers talk that game with students across the board, K through 12, and kind of have those conversations and expectations. But to have a personalized video sent to them, to be honest with you, I never really thought of it that way. And I try to often put myself in the teacher's shoes. But I can tell you, to Susan's point, a lot of the video conversation that I think about and that I have, whether it's recording how-to videos or different snippets or sending a personal message or having live interactive video in terms of having a meeting, I really haven't had that expectation of asking teachers, classroom teachers, to send videos back to me or to the group in any particular way. So really, beyond the live interactive part, I've never asked for something back to me if I've sent something personal out to an individual staff member.
One of the services that we use here on TeacherCast that I have absolutely fallen in love with is called Dubb, D-U-B-B. And you can learn more about it over at teachercast.net/Dubb. And basically, it is a video platform, but it's a video platform that helps you create videos. It gives you a Google Chrome extension. You can do it on your phone. You can do it live. But it also gives you a splash page or a landing page. And anybody over the last 6 to 8 months or so who have signed up for my newsletter gets an intro sequence with a bunch of these dubs. And essentially it's me putting a video out saying, welcome, and here's what I like, and why don't you write me back? And all of these splash pages, I have a little button at the bottom of the video that says, hey, leave me a video reply. How are you doing? What do you need? What are your pain points? Guys, I got to tell you, in over 4,000 or 5,000 newsletter subscribers, not a single teacher has given me back a video. So if we can't get that from our newsletter, should we be expecting that we can get that back from our teachers?
Yeah, that's definitely a huge question. We have trouble getting email replies a lot of the time. So, it's can be hard to get video. But, I think it's something to work toward. I think that's an awesome goal to have. In the past, we've expected an email reply of, tell me what you need, tell me how you're doing. I think video has the potential to be that.
Well, let's take a look. Go ahead.
So to me, you put it in the context of social media, getting people to step out of things like comfort zone like Facebook, where a majority of teachers might have a personal Facebook account where they're used to posting family pictures or different things in their life, and then getting them to look at it from a professional lens using Twitter or Instagram. I mean, you're really stepping outside the box with Instagram. But even when you mention something like Voxer, which, I love that tool, that's foreign to the majority of educators that I've come across. So sending a video message or creating a video message, I think we'll get there. I think education is slow to catch on with the rest of society sometimes, for better or worse. But I think it's trending in the right direction, and I think you just need to lead by example and model that behavior. And I think if you build a small capacity, I think you can continue to grow that trend.
So let's take a look at some of the ways that streaming video, live video, interactive video can be used. Susan, as a tech coach, how can we I'll put it this way, how can we help our teachers bring interactive and streaming video into their classrooms?
Well, I mean, a big thing at our school is we're really enforcing those 4 C's through the ISTE standards: the creativity, the communication, the collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, and getting outside of those 4 walls. So we're pushing, video and streaming as a huge service to do that through, virtual field trips, through just various ways of connecting with people, whether it be for us from campus to campus or from our campus to somebody in another state, or we're actually a Christian school, so we bring in a lot of missionaries off the mission field to be able to come in and talk to our students, and they can interact together through whatever app, which we'll talk about after a while. But, that's huge for us in using video in that capacity.
I like the idea of virtual field trips. Is that difficult to put together?
Not so much. I mean, thankfully, a lot of the people we connect with, whether it be a person on the mission field, an author we're bringing in, or a historian or somebody, they have the means to do that. And thankfully, we're blessed with, equipment and things like that to make it happen.
Now,
So
Matt,
Susan, I want to jump in. I've had the privilege of being introduced to about 2.5 years ago a tool that I fell in love with, that I've been championing, really been a champion for this small ed tech company in South Carolina called Streamable Learning, and they have live interactive video streams that essentially are virtual field trips, and they partner with content partners all over the world, and you can bring content experts and different museums, authors, zoos, musicians live into the classroom. So it's one-to-many interactivity, and it's amazing.
And that is a new one on me. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, so you need to check it out. It's a tiny company of, I believe, 3 employees in South Carolina. And like I said, they are growing by leaps and bounds. And, every time I have a chance to really champion them to educators, I do, because they're really growing by word of mouth right now. And so we touched on something, the virtual field trips. Budget constraints are a real thing, and there's there's all different types of schools, from public to private to charter to Catholic, you name it. And money is tight in any type of setting. To bring content experts into the classroom through live interactive streaming, it is amazing. To have a virtual field trip is unbelievable. To give children an opportunity to interact with people that they might never be able to interact with, and go places they might never be able to go, that's powerful. That's powerful learning inside the classroom, and for companies to start to catch on to that is exciting to me.
So if we wanted to do something like this in our classrooms, what kind of equipment would we need? We'll talk about apps in a second here, but what kind of physical equipment, microphone, like what do we need for something like this to be successful?
Well, I think the paradigm has shifted. It used to be you had to get the Polycom machine, you had to get the cameras set up, and it was really one classroom and one content expert, and you really had to schedule time and be creative. But now, the company that I mentioned, Streamable Learning, their platform, they use Zoom, and Zoom can easily turn into a live interactive one-to-many platform. So if you have internet connectivity, you don't even need a smart board. If you have a projector and you can project right onto a wall, you can bring experts live into the classroom through the connectivity of Zoom. And to me, you can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, I've seen a huge involvement over the years. As we know, I've been doing this a while. So I've seen a huge involvement. Like Matthew said, we used to have to go to a room with all of the equipment. Now we can just bring it right into our classroom. And with one-to-one environments, wow, look how huge that has gotten, and the opportunities that lends itself to our teachers and students.
Now, we're talking today about using video and streaming, and I want to talk a little bit into that whole professional development. Obviously, to do a virtual field trip means you take your class and you go to another place. But when it comes to the tech coaches, is there value? Should we be thinking about a situation where Susan is in her office and every building in her campus is streaming into her, and she's giving a tech tutorial to multiple buildings? Is something like that something we should be thinking about? Is it effective for her to be in her one office with multiple buildings watch? I mean, that seems like an awful lot of work to put together, but should we be thinking about professional development and streaming video all in the same sentence?
Well, I'd like to jump in first here. So if you don't mind,
please.
To me, if you have a defined amount of time that you have professional development, and you hypothetically have a large district, and you want to have that face-to-face professional development, think about all the logistics behind it. Finding a big enough space to bring all the teachers together, to have all the teachers drive over to a particular building, to have them park, to walk inside, to sit down, to get ready, and then to have someone like Susan in front of all of them face to face. Or they can stay in their classroom, they can log in at a certain time. You're adding on more time to the professional development part because they're not having to drive in their car to a particular building. They're at the leisure of their classroom. They can follow right along with Susan. If it's interactive, she can answer questions along the way. To me, I think it's a no-brainer. And the best part is, if a teacher's not there and they miss professional development time, the old way was, oh, well, you know what, we'll just get you next time. And there's really no way to catch them up on what they might have missed. But if Susan's doing it interactive live stream, she can easily record it, and people can watch it at their leisure. I mean, to me, I think it's the way we need to start trending in terms of professional development.
Yeah, this is so timely for me. I mentioned on a previous episode how, some of our face-to-face after-school offerings were just not well attended. We have 4 campuses and we're spread across Louisville and Southern Indiana. And it's, our Southern Indiana campus is not going to drive to our big Louisville campus. It just takes too long across the river. So for me, the last couple times doing those after school PDs and, trying to get those hours in for the teachers, video has been huge. So we've used things like StreamYard, trying different things. And it's to the point now where my IT director came to me the other day and said, how's that going for you? Is this working? And do you need a subscription to Zoom? And I said, yes, please. So that's been huge and a great lifesaver for me.
Now, let me throw the same question at a slightly different angle. There are many podcasts that are out there, like ours, that are trying to figure out I'll put it this way, will school districts accept listening to this live stream, this podcast, or a YouTube video as professional development? Matt, you being on the slightly different part of the desk here, I'll start with you. Should listening to podcasts, should listening to videos, should I watched a video on how to do this, is that professional development, and should that count towards our 100 hours, and how do we prove it?
Well, I think that's the $1 million question right there. How do you prove it? So, in a perfect world, you want to believe that people are going to listen to a podcast or watch a video and take away something. The problem is from the administrative side, you can't vet every podcast or video. So it's, you need to give teachers and administrators a professional latitude that they are personalizing their professional growth and they're listening and watching things that they feel are meaningful. Or you can, kind of do what I just alluded to. You could vet some podcasts. You could vet some videos and assign them to the staff. If one of your initiatives is a particular, type of instructional strategy or whatever avenue you're going down, you can assign certain podcasts and videos and things of that nature to staff members. You know what it says already, and then you could create some professional learning communities and kind of talk it through. So I think there's easy ways to do that, but I guess to sum it all up, my answer is an emphatic yes. I think there's so much rich content out there now. And I agree with you, Jeff. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of podcasts out there. There's a lot of interactive video and streaming content. But it keeps getting better and better. So I don't think it's a negative that there's a lot. I think it's actually beneficial to educators as a whole.
So do you see this being possible? I mean, let's face it here. YouTube is the second largest search engine. I have a question. I'm going to YouTube. I shouldn't be expecting to get a certificate and having it count towards 100 hours because I'm doing research for a lesson plan. So how can listening to the Tech Coach podcast be any different than going to YouTube and searching for how to use Soundtrap? Should those things be treated the same way, whether my boss says to do it or not? Because if I get Soundtrap in my school, my boss is going to tell me, go watch some YouTube videos and learn it. Should I not be getting 100 hours for these things?
I think Matthew makes a good point about vetting and having approval. In face-to-face PD, we have to have administrative approval before we offer it. Oh, may I please offer this session on Microsoft Forms or whatever. So it has to be approved. So I think it's still important if we're going to do the podcast choice or the video streaming options that they do need to be vetted in some way, or just have those choices out there. These are okay for you to watch, and then go from there. But absolutely, it's a huge part of PD these days. And I think the teachers appreciate having those options instead of the sit and get all the time.
This is something we've been talking about for the last 9 years on the podcast. Should TeacherCast be offering PD credits? I know there's a lot of podcasts out there that are basically starting with, come to our website, fill out a Google form, I'll autocrat you out a certificate, and if you can use it, great. I know, I think Jake Miller's doing it. I know Peggy George has done it for 100 years now with Classroom 2.0, and I don't know. If you guys are interested in doing something like that, let me know. If you guys are out there saying, my boss, my principal allows me to use podcasting for PD, could you give me a cert? We'd love to hear from you. If it's something that enough people out there are interested in getting, would love to have you guys chime in on that. You can, of course, find us over at Ask the Tech Coach, or go on over to AskTheTechCoachPodcast.com. Now, I want to wrap up today with some applications. We've been mentioning a lot of things in here, and maybe we'll hit on a couple apps we've already talked on, but let's just kind of go through a couple applications that people can be interested. Now, Susan, you had mentioned something a couple times that I actually just signed up for, StreamYard. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, and it's still kind of new to me too. StreamYard, it is a live streaming shareable studio is what they call it in their little description, and it happens within your browser. So really and truly, you go open your browser, StreamYard, you create a free account, and you just start recording, and it gives you a code, and you invite your participants in there to your little presentation room, and you can just record. They have the ability to chat and interact with you, and there's chat area, and you're speaking.
Now, I know that goes out to the various YouTube, Facebook channels, but
yes.
Is it a streaming platform onto itself, or do you need to use that platform to get to the YouTube, Facebook crew?
That's a good question. I mean, in my experience, we've streamed live, and then we've been able to upload it to YouTube from there.
Okay.
That's how I've used it.
Now, Matt, and by the way, guys, all of the links are going to be over here in our show notes for Ask the Tech Coach episode number 81. Matt, I believe you talked about streamable learning. I'm on their website, streamableLearning.com. Tell us one more time a little bit about this platform.
So Streamable Learning, they are K-12 interactive live streaming platform. They use Zoom as their back-end platform, and they have I think over 200 content partners. So they set up live streams on a yearly calendar. And so, for example, if they partner with, one example I can think of, they partner with the former poet laureate for the United States, Ken Nesbitt, who's a children's author and poet. So Ken will do a live stream maybe like at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. and they'll schedule him out throughout the month or throughout the year on different topics. Teacher can go in. It's a subscription model, but it's pretty inexpensive. It's extremely inexpensive. And the teacher can go in and sign up for the live stream, and then they'll get a notice through a calendar invite, and they'll log into Zoom, and you have a author live streaming right into your classroom. So it's an amazing tool. It really brings learning to life, to bring all of these experts and museums and zoos and different organizations into a classroom. the interactive part, the teacher can facilitate, and they can ask questions right through the chat feature on Zoom. So I've really been a huge proponent of it lately. I'm a real champion of bringing experts in to kind of enhance the learning process. And then you can do so much as a classroom teacher after the presentation. The presentations are roughly half hour to 40 minutes, and there's content K through 12 across all curriculum areas. So, and that's just one example, but it's powerful. It's powerful. You know, it's kind of like a Discovery Ed, but taking it to the next level for the fact that it's live and interactive. And now, that's something that really, to me, is interesting.
Now, another link that we have here on our show notes, again, Ask the Tech Coach, episode number 81, Insert Learning, a Chrome extension. Who mentioned that one? Was that you, Susan?
That was me, yes. Insert Learning, it is a Chrome extension, and their big advertising tool is make any website your lesson. And you can add text, you can annotate, do all of those things. But the nice thing about that is you can also add video. So, you know, as a teacher doing a flipped classroom, or as a tech coach trying to do a flipped PD, it allows me to have that website. And it doesn't have to be the Insert Learning website. I could be, as a tech coach, showing a group of teachers a website, how to use streamable learning, for example. And I could put my own self in a video inside of that website describing it and pointing out all the features.
I'm checking this out right now. I'm signing in through my Google account. Do the students need to have a Google account for this?
They do. It is a extension, so it would have to be installed on their Google Chrome browser. They need to have the Chrome extension to use the content. It's not that the teacher has the Chrome extension so everybody else can just take advantage of it. Correct. It's a two-way street there. All right. That's pretty cool. We will, of course, have the link to the Chrome extension as we go through it, episode 81. Other ones here we had mentioned, Hippo Video. What's that? Yes, I learned about that in the past year. It's very similar. I described StreamYard earlier. It's another app that does very similar things. One thing that makes them a little different, what we were talking about earlier in personalizing videos like you do with Dub, Jeff, is Hippo Video does some similar features like that, being able to add it into an email. And then it also casts your screen and does all of the normal video things. Other links we have in here, and again, we don't have time to hit all these wonderful things, but Flipgrid, VoiceThread, Edpuzzle, Screencastify, Screencast-O-Matic, Screener. I'll put Loom down in there also, guys. But Matt, you had mentioned something called PlayPosit or PlayPosit? PlayPosit. PlayPosit is another interactive video platform. They're an amazing small company out of Denver, Colorado. And what you can do is you can embed video into their platform, and you can create things that they call bulbs. And the bulbs are basically hard stops in the video that you can ask formative assessment questions to students or to staff or administrators. So you can create a video, create a hard stop. They have to, open up the bulb. They have to answer a formative question, and you can collect data through their platform to see and kind of assess people along the way. So that's a tremendous professional development tool for staff members or administrators. It's also an excellent tool inside the classroom. I've been watching PlayPosit grow for years. It's a direct competitor, I feel, to Edpuzzle, but I think it has a lot more functionality than an Edpuzzle. So you should check out PlayPosit. Now, we've been talking today, obviously, all about video. And before we wrap up here, I wanted to bring up one last topic. And, if we can do this really quickly, but I think this actually warrants an entire show. What are the dangers? What are the dangers of putting kids on live video? Clearly, we have instances where if a student knows that he's live, anything can fly.
And at any point in time, it could be the most wonderful thing possible, or somebody could be sitting in somebody's office. Should we be worrying about that? Should we not be worrying about that? Should we set ground rules before we go live? And I'm not saying just like the virtual field trips where no one's watching, but even if you decide to do a Facebook Live video of your classroom, the wrong student doing the wrong thing could have the wrong consequences. What are your thoughts on all this?
Well, that is absolutely, we need to set ground rules. We need to teach them, and that's part of our job, as tech coaches and influencing the teachers to be direct influences on the students. The digital citizenship is so important, and it's just all about teaching professionalism. And I'm sure you go over this a lot in your broadcasting class, Jeff, is professionalism on camera, on the microphone. And that's a word I always use when I taught digital citizenship when I was a media specialist, is being professional. As a teacher, I have to do certain things and I have to act a certain way when I'm in front of a certain group of people. So we teach our students in turn to be professional when they're on camera, when they're presenting, when they're on a microphone.
Susan, let me jump on the digital citizenship. I'll give the plug to Common Sense Media and all the work they do with digital citizenship. And anytime, I've been part of 3 districts where I help roll out one-to-one initiatives, and one of the foundational pieces we teach the staff and students is digital citizenship. And I've been part of districts where school boards and superintendents wanted to ban YouTube and block YouTube, and once again it goes back to the digital citizenship piece. So it's the letting go process in 2020, and understanding that video and live streaming, it's here to stay, and it's going to continue to evolve and grow. So it shouldn't be a taboo thing in school. It's all about educating students and staff. So it's a matter of, if you search hard enough, you can find probably anything you want online, but it's teaching the parameters and the digital citizenship piece, like we talked about, for protecting yourself and looking responsibly. So I have really no patience for something like that. And I think it's our job as educators to help people grow and learn, whether that's adults or students.
Absolutely.
I don't think I could have said that any better. I know as a broadcasting teacher, I am constantly reminding my kids and teaching them the value of being professional and looking professional. And, we're getting ready to do live broadcasting of our morning announcements. And you realize that at any point in time, something could happen that's unprofessional. It doesn't have to be a bad word or a dirty hand gesture. It could just be anything happens to happen. And we need to be ready for that. And especially when working with our kids, have that gray area of, some things are a mistake and some things are not a mistake. And what do you do when that happens? And having those conversations, both with your students and with your administrators and community, I think are important. Guys, we've had a great conversation, but I don't think the conversation ends here. It certainly continues on our social media channels. We'd love it if you guys would connect with us on Ask the Tech Coach. And you can, of course, subscribe to this podcast wherever you guys get your stuff from. You can go over to AskTheTechCoach.com and check out all of our links. Matt, where can we find you these days?
Best place, find me on Twitter at mfriedmanpgh.
And Susan, where can we find you?
I am on Twitter at SV314DWS, and I also blog at techimaginations.net.
And I hope you guys have a chance to check out the brand new looking teachercast.net. We've really been spending some time in the last couple weekends trying to make sure that everything is nice for you, organized for you, and that you guys have a great looking navigation in order to find everything for you guys. So check it on out over on AskTheTechCoach.com. We got a lot of great blogs, podcasts, posts, and a lot of Tech Coach freebies. Don't forget, we've got our Mastermind meetings every single month. You can, of course, join up with a 6-month or 12-month subscription. We would love to have you guys a part of our TeacherCast Tech Coaches Network. And on behalf of everybody here in the TeacherCast Educational Network, my name is Jeff Bradbury, reminding you to keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.
You've been listening to Ask the Tech Coach, hosted by Jeff Bradbury of the TeacherCast Educational Network. Please reach out to the show with all of your questions on Twitter at AskTheTechCoach or online at www.askthetechcoach.com. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And please take a moment to write a review in the App Store.